You argue that generosity is a currency of networking, and that really comes before receiving. And I think this is needed now more than ever because everyone's trying to be an influencer, trying to get their word out, and they don't lead with generosity. They want to lead with how great they are and trying to make sure that they're known in the marketplace.
Yeah, if you follow my social posts, everything that I put out there is generous. It's not just watch me get my hair done or, that sort of thing. It's always trying to I always ask the question, what does the audience who's following, what do they learn? How do they advance themselves in some way? And that's true of how we use social media. But if I go back in history a little bit, very early on, I learned this lesson at the golf course. There was a golfer named Mrs. Poland who helped me like you can't imagine. I had shared with her my dreams. My parents were unemployed. She helped me meet people I wanted to get to know. She helped my parents get jobs. And when I look back, I asked her, Mrs. Poland, why were you so generous to me? She said, Keith, you took 2 strokes off of my golf score. What I have found is that reciprocity, when you're keeping score, is transactional. But reciprocity, where you put out their generosity to the world, identify the kind of people that you want to hang out with and find ways to serve them. That is the advantage that you can gain in your networking abilities. Give you one other example. When I was at Deloitte, the CEO of Deloitte, a guy named Pat LeConto, had decided that he wanted Deloitte at the time back in the 90s to rise up and equal the Accentures and the McKinseys of the world. Well, that was unlikely given that we were the lowest of the big 8. What I did when I heard him say that at a meeting of 2,000 people, I went and did some research. I called a professor of mine and I said, I'd like to do a white paper on the subject of professional services marketing. Remember, I'm a kid. I'm an intern. I'm in my 20s. I went out and I interviewed the chief marketing officer of McKinsey, Bill Madisoni, Jim Murphy at Accenture, and a bunch of others. And I said to all of them, I'm curious what professional services marketing is, and I'm writing a white paper for school, and I would love to get your impression. What I'm doing is I will accumulate all this information. I'll give it back to all of you. So even in my ask of them, I was being generous. I was sort of doing a mini Gartner group study. Well, I did all of this, and I accumulated a roadmap for what it would mean to be a world-class marketer. I gave that to Pat LeConto, the CEO of Deloitte. He was blown away. He was like, Keith, none of my partners had ever thought about doing this kind of advanced thinking or research or work. He said, why don't you come and work with me at central headquarters and help redefine the future of marketing for Deloitte? And I said, well, I'll do it if you consider making me the chief marketing officer. And he's like, no, of course not. You're a child. Well, within a year, I built the relationship even further based on that sense of generosity that they had to make me partner because I was on the executive team. And they made me the chief marketing officer.